Hi everybody, Beatle Dave here again. Hope everybody is well in the vinyl community, Beatles world and YouTube world. For this little video we are going to be comparing two Beatles albums which share the same name and they virtually share the same content, but they are slightly different. So we're looking at the UK version of Rubber Soul and comparing it to the American version of Rubber Soul. I'll just take these out the sleeves because I think you're getting a little bit of glare. Just bear with 1 second, folks. Now these records are not mint records, they're just ones that are in my collection that are played on a daily or weekly basis. So Rubber Soul was the first British and American album that had anything in common, really. They had the same title, they had the same covers, and apart from a couple of songs, they were basically the same. So it was the first time that anybody in America got an equivalent of a British Beatles album, really. Like I said, there is a couple of slight variations. So unfortunately, I think we'll start off with the British version. So like I say, this was released in, I think it was November, December time of 1965. This is a mono copy, so it's PMC 1267 cover. You know, it's a very, very copied cover nowadays, isn't it? You know, it still amazes me now how they actually did it. That is the back. So like I say, this is mono. So the track listing on this, because it even says mono, it says also available in stereo number PCS 3075. So on the UK version, our album kicked off with Drive My Car. Baby, you can drive my car, ding, 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 ding. Then you got Norwegian Wood, You Won't See Me, Nowhere Man, Think For Yourself, The Word, and side one finishes off with Michelle, Michelle, my belle. Side two kicks off with What Goes On, which was written by John, Paul and Ringo, apparently. Then you get Girl, then you get I'm Looking Through You, then you get the classic In My Life, brilliant song, In My Life, I've loved you more. Then you get Wait, which always seems to be a bit out of place on this album, to be honest. Then you get If I Needed Someone, a brilliant George Harrison song, and then the British version finishes off with Run For Your Life. Now the reason I say Wait seems a bit out of place on this album, because I think it was a leftover track from the Help sessions, I think. This is quite a rare one in some ways, because it is actually the loud cut mix. Although, to be honest, I've got about 10 copies of the British album, and I can't tell any difference with this mono loud mix than any of the other mono Rubber Souls I've got. The bass is a little bit louder in places, and that's about it. And this is actually in the Ernest J. Day and Co. sleeve, which is actually quite rare as well. So don't get no track listing or anything, cause any liner notes as such. Flip back sleeve. And in the UK, excellent copy. This I wouldn't say mint copy, because you're not really going to find vintage mint Beatles records, are you? In all honesty, you never will find a mint one, are you? You might find one that's in excellent condition or a very good plus or something like that. I'd say this is in, what have I put on there? I've put this as the record's good and the cover's very good. If that was in very good plus or excellent condition, the going price for this on eBay and Discogs at the minute is £250, believe it or not. But I mean, this is quite a battered up copy. But this is just to make a comparison video. But like I say, I mean, you know, when I buy records, first and foremost, I'm a record collector and a Beatles collector, but I buy records to play as well. I know some people buy them just to make videos and things like that. I don't. I mean, I've had this copy for best part of 10 years. In fact, this is one of the first Beatles records I bought when I started to rebuild my collection in the early 2000s. So that is side one, and that is side two. Of course, it's on parlophone. There's a few like hairline marks on it. I mean, this is the thing with doing things on your phone. these records always look a little better than what they are. I mean, it has got quite a nice shine on it, don't get me wrong, but it has got some like hairline scratches, but nothing that's really feelable, if that makes sense. And it just plays nice. The only fault I've got on this, but it doesn't happen every time I play it, believe it or not, is that sometimes it'll jump at the start of Michelle and then other times it won't. But in all fairness, I'm not that bothered because I don't... It's not one of my favourite Beatles songs, so it doesn't actually spoil my enjoyment of listening to this. And like I say, sometimes it jumps and sometimes it doesn't. And it has been, I mean, I've cleaned this loads and loads of times, so I don't know. But I know some of the early to mid Beatles albums, some of them had factory errors in them, and I think it was with the Beatles. I think it actually jumped on Roll Over Beethoven or something like that, didn't it? And people sent it back to the shops and things like that when it came out. But it was actually an error from the pressing in the factory. So this is the UK version. Cracking album. It is one of my all-time favourite Beatles albums. Don't get me wrong, I love every single Beatles album that the Beatles released. I'm on about in the UK catalogue. I think this was where they started to not so much be the mop tops anymore, but started to experiment a bit, didn't they? Because George plays sitar on Norwegian Wood, doesn't he, on this? And then the closing track, Run For Your Life, a lot of people don't like, but I actually think it's a cracking song. I can't really pick any faults on this album. I think as running order goes, I think it does run really, really nice. Like I say, I think the only two songs that sort of let it down are Michelle, because I don't think that's like a great song to finish an album side on, and What Goes On is okay. And then, like I say, on side 2, Wait does actually spoil the running order of the UK version. So that's the UK version. Like I say, book price for that, if it was in better condition, is up to about £250, maybe even £300 on a good day. But this is like my plain copy. I've got a slightly better copy, don't get me wrong, but you know, this is just to compare a British version to an American version. So that's the British version. Then we get this one, which is the American version. So it's got more of a brownie coloured Rubber Soul logo there. The British one was more like an orangey colour. And I do think it actually goes, that sort of like goes a little bit better with what like John's wearing on there. And I think the cover on that is slightly blown up more than that one as well, looking at it. So what do you get? Like I say, this was the first Beatles album that was released in America that had any resemblance to the British counterpart. So it's on Capitol and it's T2442. So I think that means this is a mono version as well, I think. George Martin actually gets a production credit on this as well, just there, which is nice. I don't think he did on many of the early Beatles albums released in America, did he? I think it said originally produced by George Martin, then reproduced by somebody else, didn't it, for most of the American ones? Yeah, it's monophonic, so that means it's mono, doesn't it? This cover is actually in quite nice condition. I've had this a few years, and to be honest, I didn't pay a lot for this. I paid £10. It's still got the sticker on it there, look, £10, if you can see that. Of course, you didn't get flip back sleeves in America, did you? But your cardboard was slightly thicker than ours. And I think that has got a slight laminate on the front, but not on the back from what I can make out. And it's not as much laminated as that one, is it? If you can see. So your track listing is slightly different, because yours, side 1 on the American version, starts off with I've Just Seen a Face, which of course was from the Help album in the UK. Then you've got Norwegian Wood. Then you've got You Won't See Me. Then you've got Think For Yourself. Then you've got The Word. And then you've got Michelle. So you only get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You only get 6 songs on side 1, where we got 7 in the UK. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you get 6 songs on side 2, where we got 7. So you get 12 songs on the American version, and we got 14 in the UK. So your side 2 starts off with It's Only Love. Again, that's from the UK Help album, isn't it? You Won't See Me is from the UK Help album as well, isn't it? I think. No, it isn't. No. Dave, you're talking crap. No, it isn't. Then you've got Girl. Then you've got I'm Looking Through You. Then you've got In My Life. Then you've got Wait. And then you've got Run For Your Life. Now, because the American version starts off with I've Just Seen a Face, and the British version starts off with Drive My Car. Don't get me wrong, I think Drive My Car is a brilliant song, and I think it could have really been a single. But I think because you've got that and it's in a slightly different running order, isn't it? And then, you know, your side 2 starts off with It's Only Love. I think that makes the American version sound more like a sort of like folk rock album, where that is more like a pop album, isn't it? The UK version. I know it's only a couple of songs, but I think it gives the overall feel that that's more like the Beatles folk album, or the Beatles folk rock album. Like I say, I play both of these, to be honest, and it is hard to actually say which one would be my best. Like I said, this one, the American version, does make it sound more like a folky rocky album. That's Your Back, which is very, very similar to the UK version, isn't it, to be honest. The cover's not in quite as good as constructed as the British one. For some reason, this isn't a music for pleasure, so it's not the original sleeve, inner sleeve, sorry. But this is actually really, really nice condition. I've just seen her face, I can't forget the time or place when she first met me, just a girl for me. Which goes into Norwegian Wood, which I think is quite nice. You won't see me, think for yourself, the word. And then Michelle. So that is side 1 of the American version of Rubber Soul. And then this is side 2 of the American Rubber Soul. On the Capital Rainbow label, I think this is called, isn't it? Don't really know where it was printed because pressed, because I know on the American ones there's symbols in the run out groove and stuff like that to say where it was made, if you know the symbols. It's a triangle. What does that mean? Does that mean it's a Scranton Press or Stanton Press, something like that? I'm not really that up to date with the pressings of the American albums. Like I say, I just buy the American albums because they're different to the British albums, so I haven't got as much knowledge on the American albums as I have on the UK ones. Lovely condition though, this is. To be honest, I forgot how good a condition this is in. It really is. That is in at least a very good plus, but I think the only thing that lets this down is it has got a very, very slight warp, edge warp, but it plays perfect. That's the thing with records, isn't it? You know, I bought records that look really, really crap and shitty and scratch to hell, and you think, God, that'll never play. Bring it home, clean it, put on my old Gerard deck, and they play perfect. I've been and bought brand new records, take it out, the sleeve look absolutely mint, you know, which they should do, shouldn't have, being brand new, put on my deck, and they jump like, you know, hell. So, but things like this, I mean, it is actually quite nice to have something like this. And like I say, this was the first time that America got an album that had any resemblance whatsoever to a British album, because your Hard Days Nights and your Help albums were nothing like the UK equivalents. You had instrumentals and incidental music and all sorts, didn't you, interspread with your Hard Days Night and Help. I think the only other album that comes anywhere close to bearing a resemblance to any British Beatles album was probably your version of Meet the Beatles, which is like a slightly different version of With the Beatles. But then you've got you've added like singles to it and things like that. But yeah, I think this one is very, very nice. And like I say, I do think it is more like makes the Beatles out to be more like a folk rock band on that. So like I say, at the time they were sort of like changing the image a bit, and they was changing the music anyway. Excuse me one sec, folks. But then, of course, the tracks that you didn't get on here, that were on the British one, turned up on Yesterday and Today, didn't they? So when you got your copy of Revolver, it only had about 2 John Lennon songs on it, didn't it? Because they took 3 of the best John Lennon songs off Revolver, didn't they, to put onto your Yesterday and Today. So that's what I'm saying, you know, this was the closest that you ever got to having an identical copy of a British LP up until this point. Changed, didn't it, with Sergeant Pepper? From Sergeant Pepper onwards, basically, what was released in the UK was released the same in America. Although you did still get the odd compilation, didn't you? Or different LP, like originally we didn't get Magical Mystery Tours LP, we got it as a double EP. But now it is part of the UK catalogue. And then you got things like the Hey Jude album, didn't you? Things like that, which we didn't officially get in the UK till 1979. So in some ways, if you lived in the US, you actually got a better choice of Beatles music in the 60s than what we did in the UK. Although we got the official albums as they were recorded, we only actually got 12 albums, didn't we? If you don't count Magical Mystery Tour, and you don't count compilations like, you know, a collection of oldies but goldies. I think you got God knows how many, didn't you? You know, out of one of our albums, you used to make about 3, didn't you, Maker? So there you go. I'm not going to say which is the best and which isn't. They've both got the merits, to be honest. Like I say, that is a fantastic album. It showed the Beatles growing musically and, you know, starting to slightly come away from the mop-top image of Beatlemania. As this was released in the UK, brilliant songs on it. George's songs on this are brilliant. Because of course you didn't get Think for Yourself on the. Did you get Think for Yourself? Yeah, you got Think for Yourself, but you didn't get If I Needed Someone, did you? On the American version. That American version is, although it is basically 10 songs, only 10 songs of the 14, isn't it? Although you get 12, but you've got 2 left over from Help, the UK Help album soundtrack. Both brilliant albums. I play both of these quite regularly, to be honest. So, what's your thoughts if you've got both these? I should imagine if you live in America, you prefer the American version, and if you live in the UK, you prefer the UK version because it's how you know them albums, isn't it? But like I say, because I've got both of these, I can compare them, and to be honest, they're both, although they're slightly different track listing, and I do mean slightly, they are basically both the same LP, aren't they? You know, so I love them both. I do, I love them both. I'm sorry if I look a little bit of a mess this morning, but I've actually been off work bad. I had a dreaded stomach bug, which, touch wood, is just about gone now. So I haven't really been able to do. I haven't been able to go to work, obviously, and I haven't really been able to like even make any videos. But that's by the by. So I hope whatever you're doing on this Saturday, it is at the minute, isn't it? I think. I hope you just enjoy yourselves, love one another. Happy birthday to Ringo, by the way. He was 82, wasn't he, on the 7th. He actually shares the same birthday with my missus. My missus isn't 82, by the way. I'm on about 7th of the 7th is the same birthday as my missus. And she's quite a way off being 82. And good old Ringo's still out touring, isn't he? So I think I'm going to leave it there for today. As always, thank you to everybody that is subscribing. If you haven't subscribed and you've just come across this little channel, just do me a favour, if you like the video, just go down here. If you leave a thumbs up and then subscribe, and then if you hit the notifications button, which is basically a bell, then you'll get notifications when I'm doing new videos. I do try and do at least one a week. It is usually the Beatles, but it is also a record collecting channel. So, you know, we do things about record collecting, things about the vinyl community. We do things on your, you know, your record decks and things like that, and cleaning, and, you know, but 99% of the time it is a Beatles channel, hence why it's called Beatle Dave. So until the next time, just love one another, and I hope this has made you think, if you've got both of these, which one do you prefer? Or don't you? Do you just think the American one's better than the British version, or the British version's better than the American one? You know, we've all got our own opinions, haven't we? To me, I like them both. That's all I'll say. I love them both. I play them both, you know, quite regular. So that's going to be it. So until the next time, remember, Beatle Dave loves you, and stay safe, everybody. So till the next time, it's ta-ra, ta-na, peace, love to you all.